I'm gonna try to explain something here, and it has to do with gaming. I'm gonna try to convey this message to you, and it might be hard. I don't know. I don't know who's watching this, okay? But this is gonna be kind of a gaming related thing. It's okay, gaming conversation. It's a conversation I had with myself because I have several people talking at once, and that's how you get smart. You know what I mean? You have several processes running. You know what I mean? Like a CPU, like a computer processor. Who even knows what that is? You'd be surprised how much people pay attention to things and how hard it is for me to just talk on camera or anyone to just talk on camera and get them to pay attention. You have to talk in a particular way. That's why if you go too goofy or too funny and you're just like over here, they're like, what is this guy even doing? But they're supposed to be laughing, like, hey, I was going over there so you would laugh, but I guess I gotta go farther. You gotta go farther, you know? Like a person in a comedy movie, they don't even make those anymore. It's sad. It used to be cool to take it to the extreme, you know? Look at that's so funny that that guy is over there in that character doing these things, these series of events. Wow. Yeah, that never happens anymore. What happened to all those high school movies? Ha 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 ha. Sex jokes. Anyway, I'm gonna try to explain something. There are so many games. Everything becomes so oversaturated with different genres. It's everything. But if you look at the gaming market right now and kind of what's popular and everything that's going on, battle royales obviously at the forefront, but somehow Grand Theft Auto is always number one. I don't. They really stole the show on wheels. But seriously, so battle royales. I was sitting here thinking because I played the game Fall Guys. Now, I mean, if you guys don't know what these games are, then maybe you're not a gamer or whatever. But I'm gonna try to explain this. So the game Fall Guys is a game where you have all these obstacles and crazy stuff. I think you got to be a gamer, okay, to be here. Okay, man. I didn't really want to make it this niche and make it a kind of gamer genre, but I've been thinking about it, so I'm trying to explain it. So you got Fall Guys, you got all these obstacles and puzzles and stuff, and then you got Dark and Darker, and you have these little traps, like these dungeons and traps in the dungeon, okay? And then you got battle royale games like Apex Legends, okay? So and then you got Call of Duty. Call of Duty is kind of like a military shooter game, It's kind of like it's probably like more tangible to people to play that because it's more real. Like there's not all this crazy stuff like aliens and goofy people like me. Like if I was on the game, like, hey guys, you want to shoot some guns? They probably wouldn't be playing the game if I was on the face of Call of Duty. Like, look at me if they just like made me like the main character and I just did all this goofy, crazy stuff and just kind of like rolled around in my own diaper and just like the skin marks and just twirled on the floor with the AK-47. M16. Where's the M19? Where's the M18? M14? M16? Where's the M22? I don't know. I don't know. I heard that we actually invented the M4 or we. I said we, us Americans, we invented the M4 and the M16. We did. Yes, I was included. I took part in that. No, I didn't do nothing. Like, I don't think we said we. Some genius guy made that gun. It's an awesome gun. But anyways, so we got all these battle royale games, and you kind of look at them. Look at Apex Legends for a minute, okay? It's got these character abilities. That's what makes it so unique. That's what spices it up, man. You got all these abilities, and you can just do so many different variations of these, and you got the kind of categories, defense, assault, whatever. I can't remember exactly what they're called, but then you got the personalities, which is kind of the same thing. It's like, you're almost putting the abilities with the personalities, and they're almost like exaggerated personalities. Like those aren't real people, man. They're all flashy and they got like color coded and designed well, and we got the shapes and the skin and the hair, and oh my gosh, the outfits. Swoop, picture perfect. Got an actor on it, some random person. You're famous now. Fire away. You're the voice of this very popular gaming character. Wow. Wow. Yeah. That doesn't always happen. Actors don't always get opportunities in gaming. There's not always flashy personalities. That's what I'm saying. Like, there's not very many. Like, you don't. Do you even remember any of the names from any of the Call of Duty characters? I don't. I don't even know. Like, there's not even a character in there. I mean, the streamers are the characters, I guess. You know what I mean? They become the characters for the game because the game doesn't really make the good character. That's so weird to think about right there. But What I'm trying to say is, so you have randomness in these things. You got randomness in these things. So you got Apex Legends. It's like random abilities that bring all these different unique experiences to the game. And then you got take notes. And then you got Call of Duty, which is see like Apex is like more of a sci-fi. Like Call of Duty can't put in the stuff that Apex Legends, like have all these special abilities and different stuff and fly in the air and do this and shoot spiders out of your arm or whatever. You know what I like you know what I mean? Like it has to be more like just military shooter, nothing crazy. But then you got like Dark and Darker, and it's more like a maze, right? So it's a maze. It's not out in the open. So then you got traps, and you got this. It's kind of a maze, and until you learn it, learn the map, of course. But it's not exactly a maze, but it kind of is a maze. It's not a maze because there's not like dead ends. There are dead ends, but you know what I'm saying. It's not like official maze, but it's kind of like a maze. So it's like kind of like probably like 25% maze. Okay, dungeon is kind of like a maze. Okay, it's kind of a genre like if you made like an underground like parking garage and it was dark and darker, but it had nothing. It didn't have like brick walls or anything, right? It's just a parking garage with aliens. Well, yeah, that's not a dungeon, but it's kind of like taking on the same form. So I mean, you could, I don't know, crazy underground sci-fi bunkers and outer space and stuff. I don't know what's in them. But that's what I'm saying. It's you have all these different genres that are able to exploit different things in the game to make it more interesting. So, like I was saying with Fall Guys, like the obstacles and the puzzles and the map. See, it's the map provides a randomness to the player experience. So you have this map doing all these crazy things. You have to jump. You have to go through these things, and just bear with me, like a random stuff happening in the map. So like not only the personalities are all it took in the extreme and bent out and weird and stuff, but you have other things. But see, Apex Legends does have a few of those elements, but it's not enough to take it to the extreme. That's where there's a niche right there. And I can see it. I was gonna try to develop this game or try to pitch it or try to get it together, but I was just like, I'm not really doing game dev. I'm doing more like just talking about stuff and I throw like if I get some information, I'll just throw it out there. If it's like I'm not going to pursue it, but I mean, it's cool to talk about. It's interesting to think about. You know what I mean? So if you think about it, you have a battle royale, but you have a bunch of obstacles and puzzles and different things. And then you have you have to have the thing from Apex Legends. So you have abilities, character abilities to get past these obstacles, and then you have guns and stuff, of course, to shoot people. Because I mean, who wouldn't want an experience on Fall Guys with guns, Pokemon with guns? You know what I mean? Like, come on, Mario with guns. Everybody wants it. Everybody wants it, but they're not giving it to us. You know what I mean? Because it's in the genre. It's respect to the genre. So you have to create a genre with this. This is a genre of a game that hasn't came out yet, but I believe in my heart and soul because I thought of this stuff. Okay, I thought of this. This is a huge gaming idea right here. Okay, this is advanced game dev stuff that I only know because I've been playing games all my life and paying attention to. I didn't go to school for it. I just know it. I just know, man. I pay attention to stuff, man. But there's a lot of things that go into map design and character design and sound design even. So there's so much stuff that you can do. And just if you know what Apex Legends is, you don't, or Valorant has the same thing. Like Valorant has a similar aspect to that Apex Legends has. You have sci-fi, you have fantasy, these things that they do, abilities that influence the game in a particular way. And so if you think about the map, the personality of the map, what if the map could do it? What if the map was characterized to have these different elements in there? And that's where I think it's going. That's where I think it's going. But that Valorant, it's a kind of more of a, I think, a strategic. It's basically an exploit of Counter-Strike. It's saying, hey, this is a terrorist shooter. Well, we're gonna make this crazy fantasy sci-fi shooter, and we're gonna call it Valorant, and somehow it's gonna work. I don't know. I feel like there should be elves in it or something, but for some reason, it's its own kind of fantasy. You can't be an elf. No, actually, they do have elves. What am I talking about? You could. I mean, I don't know if they have orcs. They do have an elf though. I don't know if he's an official elf, but he has the ear. That's crazy. Actually, he looks like the Warcraft guy, the original Warcraft elf guy. Um, so if you think about it, I mean, it's kind of crazy. And then you have all these other things to think about. Okay, so weather. DayZ has weather elements. They have the storm comes in, and there's some sci-fi stuff there. So weather. So just imagine a lava raining down from the sky, lava like a firestorm or something, or like things that can happen at different times, and you can affect the environment. A player can affect the environment or the weather or like something like the just imagine a big puzzle box, and it's shifting and changing and randomizing, and it's procedural being, it has different components that kind of are infinite, and it kind of that's the future gaming right there. Okay, and I thought about this, and I have no idea. I guess I play enough games to I guess I play a lot of mainstream games because there's a lot of games out there. There's a lot of people that try a lot of different things, and if you go and look, there's like a lot of stuff, and people try a lot of stuff. So whenever I think about this, I'm like, wow, this is cool to think about, but it's I think it's even harder to make it work. It's really hard to make that work. Like, you're talking about a game with puzzles, obstacles, guns, battle royale mode, and character abilities, personality. That's a lot of stuff, by the way. So that's a lot of code. That's a lot of art. That's a lot of brain power there going into this thing. But that's the one element that battle royales haven't taken full advantage of yet. And see, you start with PUBG, and then that's like a military shooter. I call that a military shooter, okay? That's what I call a military FPS, is when it's basically militarized. You got military gear. It's more modern. It's realistic gunplay. So it has like guns from real life and stuff. It's you get armor from real life. It's not, there's no sci-fi in it or anything. It's basically a military shooter, and Counter-Strike is a terrorist shooter, but it's kind of the very similar to a military shooter. Terrorist shooter. They should have just called it terrorist shooter. Screw Counter-Strike. But anyways, so you have a lot of other games too that are pretty that so there are some environmental, so it's called environmental influence. And so like I know like Apex Legends, I think it has a portal. And so like you can have AI. So AI, obviously, characters that you fight in the game are an environmental influence, but it seems so bland, and I think that's the problem. And I think, just think about this, okay? Think if you could actually slip on mud in a game, right? Or if maybe it rained and something was slippery, and so they're like, or something like that, or like a fire spread in a particular way, and so there was an explosion, and explosions too. So like, honestly, there's a lot of things that gaming can't do right now, and I don't know if people realize that. That's what I think people don't realize about gaming is there's so much that they can't do in games, and if you think about it, people don't really think like that. Like, you might have thought like whenever Mario came out, like, this is so cool. Doom came out, old school Doom. This is so cool, man. This is like groundbreaking. And then right now we're like, yeah, this is groundbreaking. We're living so fresh. But you just think about in a video game, if you could a fire could spread, just that concept right there. I mean, there's so many influences that could affect it, but that's what I'm saying, the random factor of that. If you could slip on mud, if there could be fires, if there was like a lightning storm, maybe if a little tornado of leprechauns came out of the ground and just, like, I don't know, you could just do so much stuff with that. You could get wacky and crazy. And I think shooters are typically, they don't have any too like wacky or stupid things in them, because people want to feel it whenever they win and stuff. Like I actually shot that person and won. Like, not that they don't want to feel like a murderer, but you know what I mean. Like, it feels better. Like, if you're shooting diapers out of a gun or something, that probably is just so dumb to you, because it's just, this is comedy now, and it's not. This is not a gun. I'm shooting diapers out of a gun. And it doesn't. How are you supposed to take that seriously? How are people supposed to take that seriously? The serious gamers. How are they even so serious? I think they love the drama of it. That's the real thing. So it's the drama of winning. Um, which is a whole nother topic, is the psychology of a gamer. But yeah. So I think it's something that maybe not right now, but definitely in the future. There, like, there's got to be something. There's got to be a game like that. With kind of like a map that is so unique that you have unique obstacles in it that you have to get through. Traps, obstacles, randomness though. See, because when you move through a map, that's the thing about the map, right? You move through a map and it's usually the same. Like you remember everything is, you know how to jump up this is easy. It's pretty easy, but it'll be a more of a challenge and more things can happen when you have all this other stuff. And that's going to make it even more, like interesting for players. Like just imagine if you had different elements in Apex Legends. If there was different elements in the game for the map, but it might be a different game though, you know what I'm saying? Like but there's a whole lot of things that I've been thinking about with this stuff. I'm not actually a game. Well, actually I am planning on developing a game, but it's kind of in the process. But there's just so many like aspects of games that particular people like and stuff, more cartoony is more goofy and probably more casual, less, more realism means they take it more seriously, I don't know, there's a lot of different like aspects to these type of games, and there's so many different types of games, like Dead by Daylight. That's a pretty unique game. Fall Guys, pretty unique game. Rocket League, well, it's kind of a car game, but it's still a pretty unique game. So, I mean, I don't know. There's a lot of games out there, I don't know. They like just start naming off the list, you know what I mean? So, I mean, for me, I think definitely there's going to be a breakout where you have a shooting game with more puzzles, more interesting stuff, and to create unique experiences. And I'm pretty excited about it because once I start to think about it, I'm like, yeah, this is something that's definitely going to be big. I feel like it's going to be, but someone needs to be able to make it. And so like in the gaming world, I don't think people really understand that we are kind of like held back by technology, because you think like everyone always thinks they have good technology if they have the best technology out, right? Like you have the best. If you had the best computer you could buy right now, you would be like, this is a really good computer. But just think about like how much it really lacks. Like you can't have like there's not too like people just don't understand, like if you have like water physics in a game, how much like our computers can't really handle buildings blowing up, fires being spread, water. So like all of that stuff, like there's so much stuff that can happen at once, and part of it has to do with code too. But it's part of it is the programs and the technology we have. Like you have all these different factors in the that you could put in the game, but you don't, because people basically game development is centered around putting in the minimal amount of stuff that you need to put in the game so you can make it run better. And people don't understand that. Like, if you really think about it, gaming is kind of not anywhere near where it could be. If you could do whatever you wanted, people can't do whatever they want. And that's the thing too. You're talking about a game with so many different components in it that it would literally just take a monster to build this thing. It takes someone that's like, you need to take a whole team of people. It takes so many people to really make this game, or it wouldn't be one game, probably be a lot of clones of it too, because that's what people do. They clone it and they make it different. They clone it and they make it different. And so it almost seems like its simplicity at its finest is really the best that we can get in a lot of different experiences. And because like sometimes you have a game and it just is the way it is, and that's fine. And there's probably no limit to how good you can actually get at the game, because you could grind for so long on a game and still not be like the king of the game. You're not going to be the best in the world. There's too many people grinding on it. Like, how are you even supposed to get good at a game if you're just picking up the controller, if you're just picking up the keyboard and mouse, you know what I mean, on whatever game you're playing? It's like literally, it's so competitive. But anyways, I don't know, it's just interesting to talk about, Apex Legends, like that component, and Dark and Dark, all of these games that are kind of circulating, and they all have kind of something different. And so just to touch on another subject, there's a lot you could talk about with games. There's so many games out there. If you really go look at all the games that people make, and just there's so many games, man, that people have tried so many different things. And so another thing is the loot. So like DayZ is a kind of a looting game, Tarkov, and the battle royale games have simplified loot, and I don't think people realize that it's simplified. it's simplified for a reason because you know, you want to simplify the experience for people and not make it too complicated. So like people don't have to overthink when playing it. So like a lot of people don't have to really, it's not that hard to learn how to play. But I guess in the end it is very hard to it's easy to play, but it's hard to be like super super good. And so, you know, you know, you have to grind your fingers to the bone and you know, until you're basically your hand like fuses with the controller and your hands are a controller now, or your hands are a keyboard and mouse now, you know, just yeah. Yeah, they don't actually come off anymore. Yeah. I'm stuck here. Yeah. This is my job now. You know what I'm saying? Uh if you're that good. But anyways, yeah, I'm just over here brainstorming the stuff. So DayZ actually it has a very, you know, it's a game where it has an in-depth loot, very in-depth, very specific. So it's a very individualized experience. You go into a building, you can find something different every single time, you know, like you go around and you find different stuff in different buildings and people get different stuff and it gives them different advantages. And that's another thing is advantage, working with advantages. And you know, what's an interesting game is what is that game? It's a Blizzard game. Damn, I can't even remember what it's called, but um it was a popular game. I'm looking right now. I can't really find it. Anyways, there's a lot of different games out there. There's a lot of interesting stuff. But yeah, so the loot, you know, and so it's in depth. So it's weird. Even thinking about Fortnite having a building concept in the game, that's like such a complicated thing to have in a shooter game, and it's crazy that so many people were able to do it. It's kind of weird that they were able, like, if you really think about that, that's pretty incredible. I was never really into Fortnite, but I do like, hey, you know, they did do something that like no one else really could do or did. But just think about like if Fortnite had some crazy map, like the map shifts and it changes, and like, you know, people can influence the map in the game while they're playing or something. I don't know. Or like more stuff to jump over and more things. I don't even know, man. I see when I say it, it almost sounds like they already know. Like these developers already know what I'm talking about. But if you put too much in it, it's gonna be, you know. Anyways, it's just interesting. I'm just talking about this stuff because it's really interesting and just I don't know. I just felt the need to talk about it because I feel like, you know, if anybody out there like wants to hear about it or whatever, that's cool. If not, then whatever. But it's a pretty interesting thing for me because I've been playing games all my life. And yeah, I'm out of here.